Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning into another episode of the Media Buff Podcast, the show about anything and everything media related. Ed here with my fellow co-host and guest star, Mr. John. Everybody say hello.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. So for this episode, it's been some time coming, and if you watch our shows or listen to our shows, you know that every beginning of the month we like to review something. And this lined up pretty perfectly because the season 2 of The Last of Us just wrapped up on HBO, and we're gonna go ahead and review it. Now, before we get into it, we have two sides of this one. One where they support it and they think it was great, and the other side where they have some constructive shit talking, according to Matt. But I'm gonna go ahead and say a few things first, and then I'm gonna let them have at it. I myself, I'm kind of in the middle of it. And before I begin, this is your first official spoiler warning. But the show's already wrapped up. It was 7 episodes long, one every Sunday, so definitely check it out. I myself, I'm in the middle of it because I don't hate it, but I don't think it's great. And at the same time, I want for live action adaptations to not be done by just any single group of individuals. I want a committee to be made up of the people who are hardcore fans and act as consultants so they can keep these things on track, because even though they did a pretty decent job, they didn't do the best job. But we'll get into a little more details about it. So with that being said, Matt, John, tell us why you hate the show.
Well, hate is a strong
word.
Matt,
Although if you
Matt,
look, if you go on Reddit, if you go on X, that's
the thing I was thinking about bringing up is it's extremely polarizing from what I've seen on the internet.
Yeah, it's very volatile.
Both sides are very mean and aggressive to each other. If you have the opposite opinion of me, I don't think that you're stupid. Your opinions are valid. But everybody's yelling at each other.
Yeah.
At the end,
for liking it. I will burn you to the ground.
At the end of every episode of me and Matt's podcast, I say be excellent to each other, and people are not doing it. So
yeah, this show did tear a lot of houses, divided a lot of houses.
But Matt, why don't you go ahead and...
So my main theme for this is going to be impact and consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And what I mean is, starting off, I would say that Bella Ramsey, it's not her fault that she was written in a bad way. If you watch the show, it's not her fault that she was written the way she was. She's working with what she has. But my issue with that character's direction, it is still the same as it was in season 1. And even in season 2, there is little to no character development for Ellie. She's still acting like a pissed off 14-year-old when she's supposed to be 19 years old and an adult. Granted, that's a very young age for an adult, but you're still able to make rational decisions. And not to act the way a 14-year-old or a 12-year-old does. However old she was supposed to be in the
she
first
was 19.
game.
She was 14
First game,
in the first one. The first game, she was 14.
Yeah. So, but that's a huge contrast of age differences, 14 and 19.
5 years.
It's 5 years. You learn a lot in 5 years. You grow up. You mature. But for some reason, the writers said, you know what? We're not going to give her any character development. She's going to act the same like she did in season 1 for the most part. And that's what I mean by the consistency. They take scenes and situations from the game and pull them in the show, but it feels out of place. Because perfect example is that the games have a constant violence to it, and it's constantly brutal.
Yeah,
and
it is.
That's a huge absence from the show. You want to say something, Jen?
Oh no, I was just
Oh, I thought you were raising your hand to say something.
no.
Oh, okay. But and so like the violence doesn't have to be extreme, but it needs to at least be consistent. And they don't do that in the show. So um when those scenes take place and when they happen, it feels very out of place. Like, and a good counter to that is if you watch The Walking Dead, they do a really good job of keeping a consistent brutality throughout the show, and you can
Yeah, they do.
see how that affects the characters and their development. Like a great example of it would be Rick. In when you first meet him at the beginning of the show, you can see where his mind is when he's talking to Shane. He likes to take things, think about them, and then deal with it in a way in the best manner possible. But as the show goes on, his decision making, his first act becomes violence
Oh yeah.
because of all the violence he had to inflict to survive. And like you see it with Carol, like when she stopped and think about the amount of people she's killed, she decides to leave the group because it's breaking her emotionally and mentally. And then there's that scene where she comes across marauders and she's begging and crying for them to leave because she doesn't want to kill anyone anymore. But she knows if she doesn't, she's gonna die.
Yeah.
So she's forced to do it. In the Last of Us, we're supposed to be a similar setting where it's like zombies or monsters with people who are pieces of shit. Because if you're not a piece of shit in a hostile environment like that, you're going to die. You can't be like rainbows and unicorns. Everybody's my friend. I'm going to give them a hug because that's how you get stabbed in the neck and all your gear's taken from you.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not there in the show. And that's for both seasons. But what makes the second season not enjoyable is that this is supposed to be a quest of revenge. And Ellie is supposed to be her sole focus. That's the only thing that's on her mind, is to get the people that killed Joe. Or Joel, excuse me. But in the show, it feels like the way they develop her and Dana's relationship, it is not a story about revenge and cold-blooded killing. It's a story about these two girls like falling in love and they're on like vacation.
I can see why you think that.
Yeah.
Are you,
It's the way the show portrays it. I feel like the game does a better job of showing how Dana and Ellie's relationship evolves and how they fall in love with each other and all that good stuff. But there's still that basic fact that Ellie is pissed off and she's going to kill anyone and everyone in her way.
Yeah.
is that
That's what I have so far.
okay?
Yeah.
Well, full disclosure for my perspective, I love the game a lot. I'm still playing it. I was playing it an hour ago. And I still watch. I've beaten it a ton of times, and I still watch the cutscenes. Like I don't even skip them because I just think the story is that good. And as a person who enjoys the game that much, I really didn't like some of the angles they took with the show. Like I'm not saying don't change anything. With the first problem I had was kind of the pacing. How at the beginning of the season they show Abby and explain why she's going on this revenge mission and why she kills Joel. When in the game, if you're playing the game for the first time and you beat the first one, you can make an educated guess why she's doing what she's doing, and you'd probably be right. But you don't actually. It's not stated in black and white why she's doing it. You figure it out later. They kind of Pulp Fiction the story a little bit.
Yeah.
And they kind of undid that for the show. I think what their angle in the game was to like you're supposed to hate Abby, and then they force you to play as Abby and try to make you fall in love with Abby, which
Basically, yeah.
it's debate. I thought it was really good in the game, but you know, the level of violence is really toned down in the show. I thought it was strange that well, it happens just like in the game. She tortures Nora, gets the information, and then goes back
Yeah.
to the movie theater. And she does that scene where she takes her shirt off and she tells her like I made her talk and stuff. And she has all these scrapes and cuts and bruises on her back, which is exactly it's a parallel to the game. That exact
Yeah.
scene happened more or less like that. But I was wondering in the show, like when did that happen? Like, because in the game, like in cutscenes, there's like remote explosives that go off and they go flying against the wall or drug down the street or thrown over all this stuff. But in the show, and I'm like, when did that much combat? I think she kills one living person.
They
Yeah.
they kind of do gloss over it. Yeah.
I thought it was
Mhm.
I don't know. I thought that was kind of strange, but I don't have the perspective of someone who hasn't played the game. And
Yeah.
if I did, I would think like I can see why some people I can see why people would enjoy it. I can't detach from the original source material because I
Yeah.
love it so much that I just don't think this is in my opinion this is an inferior version of the story. But if you enjoyed this and haven't played the game, go play the game
Yeah.
because in my
I'm
opinion, I mean
very
it's still
envious
the
of those people.
same. I mean the general plot points are still there. The
Yeah.
why they're going to Seattle and why Joel got killed, all that stuff is the same. But everything else, even I would say Ellie and Joel's representations in the show is very different than what it
Oh,
is
yeah.
in the game, to the point where like they're from the same places and some of the same main things happen, but the Pedro Pascal's Joel is not the same Joel from the. It's a
No, he's
completely
not.
different guy.
And
But
let me
go
interject
ahead.
real quick. Now, if listeners if you've been listening to our show from the beginning, you'll know that our very first episode was a review on the first Last of Us, and there was one thing you said on that episode, Matt, and it still rings in my head that video game Joel would beat the crap out of TV show Joel, and that still stands in this show, like for me, anyways.
Yeah, and it's the same with any of the characters in the show. Like Ellie would definitely kill the fuck out of
Live
TV
action
show.
Ellie, yeah.
Yeah, TV
Mhm.
show Ellie,
Yeah, she would.
and like video game Abby will snap live action Abby in
Yeah.
half.
Yeah.
And in the interest of not being just completely negative, there were, I'll say, a couple of things that I did like. There were certain scenes like the flashback where they go to the museum for Ellie's birthday.
Episode 6, yeah.
I thought it was
Great
cool.
episode.
I mean, they skimmed over a lot of stuff in it. The sequence
Well, they
doesn't
kinda
last
have
as
to.
long.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the set that they made looked
Mhm.
just like the game for that room, and it was cool seeing it in the different lighting from the different perspective
Mhm.
and things like that. That was really cool. And Jesse, they kind of did a 180 on his character in the show versus the game, because in the game when he finds them and tries to save them very similarly to the show, but the difference is in the game he says like, hey, if you would have told me you were sneaking out, I would have went with you. I looked up to
Yeah.
Joel, I love Joel, I would have gone. But in the show he's like, hey, what the fuck, like you're gonna
Mhm.
start a war, we
Like-
shouldn't be here, I need to keep my people safe, which he had.
Yeah.
Well,
I
Solid
voted
points.
against it.
yeah,
Yeah.
just gonna
Yeah,
say he
he-
voted no.
He had solid points in the show.
Mm.
But I thought both versions of that character, I mean, unfortunately, their their demise is exactly the same.
I
At
know
exactly
when
the
I
same
saw
moment.
that scene, I'm like, you couldn't have changed it a little bit. The one time I wanted you to change
They
something.
they did, but it was like, did anybody see Lev in that scene?
No, he's not
No.
in
She's
that
there.
scene.
He's there in the game.
He's in the game because he's there with Abby, but he's not in that scene. He's got.
Yeah.
I have no idea where he is. He
That's what I
might
was
be
looking
with
for when I saw it.
with Dina, because Dina is still unaccounted for
Right. But
Yeah.
piggybacking
in that last
off
scene.
Of piggybacking off of what John said, as far as not being negative, I agree. There's stuff in the show that I did like. I like how when they introduced Isaac, I thought the
Mhm.
guy who portrayed
Yeah,
Isaac,
Isaac was
did
cool.
a
He
really
did a good
great job.
He did a really good job.
I liked one of the episodes, the beginning scene when they explained the spores.
Yes.
I thought that was really good. I mean,
They said they retconned the spores for season 1, but then brought them back for season 2. I thought
So
that was odd
I
Yeah.
looked
to
into
not
that.
just have
I
them.
looked into that, and part of the reason they retconned it in season 1 was because the directors didn't want their actors to be have their faces covered with masks. Because in the game, you have a mask on a lot, like
Yeah.
almost every other
Yeah.
part of the of a I don't want to say mission, but every part of a chapter, you're wearing a mask. Ellie's the
Yeah.
only one who's not wearing a mask because she's immune. So the director and the producer said, like, let's retcon this, but then they decided, like, you know what, we need to bring this back because it is a pivotal part of the game, and one big part is the fact that Nora gets infected
Through
with
the
the
Yeah.
spores.
spores.
So
But
And the Rat
that's one of
King.
the reasons
Yeah.
they brought it back. So they felt like, you know what, we need to bring it back because it is a pretty integral part of the story.
and then
And-
I will admit that episode 6, I enjoyed episode 6.
It was a good episode.
It was a good episode, and but
Mhm.
as far as the overall show, that's it.
Yeah.
I liked
Okay.
how they I thought it was interesting how they played around with Owen and Mel's death.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, I prefer the video game version. It's a lot more, intense and violent. But it was really like smart. And when she was telling her to do the C-section, I was like, "Holy shit, is she going to do it?"
Yeah, dude,
And
that part was like, oh, and I think part of the reason they added that is because okay, so for context, folks, the scene we're talking about is when Abby kills Owen and what's her name again?
Mel.
Mel. Mel is
Mhm.
pregnant, but Abby doesn't know this.
Yeah,
So
and
when-
Mel's like 8
Sorry.
months. Or
And
9
when
months
she
pregnant.
kills her and she sees the belly,
Mhm.
Ellie has a breakdown. The same thing happens in the show, except this time Mel is still alive as she's dying, and she's asking Ellie to cut the baby out. And that scene just like it like I was like, whoa. They wanted. I feel like they wanted to make it seem more the gravity of it, because you see Ellie just like you could see it in her eyes, like, oh crap. Especially considering that Ellie, I mean, Dina herself is pregnant.
Right. But I feel like the gravity of the situation is displayed better in the game because Ellie shoots Owen and then she takes the knife from Mel and then stabs Mel in the neck. Like Ellie kills her herself. And so therefore in that situation, Ellie's like, holy fuck, what did I just do?
Yeah.
I just killed this pregnant woman. Like,
Yeah.
but in the show,
It was technically an accident.
It was an accident. Yeah. So I mean, it's still shitty either way, but but intentionally killing somebody versus like
Yeah, I don't think they
being an
wanted
accident.
the audience to see that,
Mhm.
because they
That's
would
a
have
good
really like the hate for Bella Ramsey's getting enough hate as it is. Her killing her, what's her name,
Mel.
like stabbing her would have
Mhm.
like just made people riot in the streets.
Probably,
Mm.
but that's just not fair for Bella Ramsey.
No, it really isn't. It really is.
Because Bella Ramsey is a good actress, and and you see that in some of the scenes, but the overall direction for the character isn't there.
I
Yeah.
did have a question about that scene with Owen and Mel. Since you watched it multiple times, maybe you saw something that I didn't. In the game, she kills Owen and Mel, and then she's kind of freaked out, and she drops that map that conveniently has their home base circled on it, like right
Correct.
dead center of the map. And then Abby finds it in the show. How does Abby know where they are? They do explain that it was easy for them to find. This would be assuming that Abby knows that they're the people from Jackson, because when Tommy and Jesse come in, they come in from the same direction and they follow the same clues that lead them to Ellie and Abby, or Ellie and Dina.
Did you watch the end scene of the last episode?
Was there a post-credit scene?
Kind of. So you see Abby waking up, and she's
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you just see that scene.
She's at
That
the
is
stadium.
gonna explain. That is gonna explain how she knows where they are.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're going to go through the whole.
Yeah. So
all
you're
the
gonna
days
see
again.
how she was able to know where they were.
We just gotta wait for season
Yeah.
3.
So
Because
the
I was
way-
just like, how the fuck did she find them? Because
Yeah.
the
So
shit
the
didn't
way-
have a
They'll
map.
explain it.
the way they're playing the show, and I actually do like it because it's kind of how we played the game. We're seeing both perspectives, and technically certain parts are happening at the same time. So now next season we're gonna see Abby's perspective and basically everything she was doing while everything that was going down.
I haven't seen enough to form any kind of opinion on the show's version of Abby, but I like the video game version of Abby a lot. If they did part 3, which is Abby and Lev, I'd buy it day one.
I mean,
I
she's
would
still a
fucking love that.
character.
That'd be
She's still
awesome.
a character I dislike, but not because I just don't like how she looks or how she acts. And I've already explained it to you guys. The reason I dislike her character is because everything that happens is her fault.
They killed her dad.
I'm
Yeah.
and I
She don't know
explained
them.
and I explained it to you, but everybody was in agreement. Like, hey, and there's a scene in the first episode. They say like, hey, we know that you're hurting. Hey, we're hurting too, but maybe this is as far as it goes. I say we go back.
Which is
Everybody
why,
was on board to go back, but
which is
she
why
had
at
to
the
push it.
oh sorry.
So she took their lives and she decided for them. And
Yeah,
in
but-
that moment, she sealed their fate.
And that's
Also-
why at the end of the game, one of them has to stop.
Yeah, I know. Spoiler alert.
Well, I mean, the game's a handful of years old now, but
For
at
reals, I
the
know.
end of all of this is someone has to make the decision to stop.
Yeah, and Ellie stops.
Or it'll keep going
Vicious
forever.
circle.
Yeah, but
There's more
honest-
kids.
Again,
There's-
all of this could have been prevented if Abby would have just swallowed her grief and listened to her friends.
They
Yeah, but-
shot her dad in the head.
I'm aware.
But
I'm aware.
also, Ed, at the same time, when Abby said, "This is Joel," the first thing they did was take Dina hostage.
Yeah.
Like, if they were in agreement to all go back, one of
Oh,
them,
right, the show. Sorry.
yeah,
confused.
Well, I guess they figured like
Owen could have stepped up, or anybody else could have stepped up and said, "You know what? Let's not do this." They
Yeah.
could have had a conversation with Abby, but no. Instead, they made the decision to take the girl hostage and then point guns at Joel. So
What-
already there, even though like they were like on the fence and they were talking about going back, the second he was in the room, everything changed. They all made the same decision collectively.
I
What
suppose-
Joel
And-
did was
Yeah.
historical, though. Like, it
Yeah.
was a huge. He impacted the entire country,
he
whether people
destroyed
are aware of
he
it or
destroyed
not.
the fireflies. He
Mhm.
single-handedly.
Mhm.
Fedra
No,
couldn't do it.
But
What are you gonna say, Jen?
a father's love.
Yeah, father's love. Yeah. Okay. Do you guys have anything else to add, or are you kind of done saying
Oh,
like?
If you like the
maybe-
show, play the game.
Yeah, and obviously I love the game just as much as John. And our opinion is always going to be that the game tells a superior story over
Mhm.
the show. But if you like the show and you have you have your reasons for liking it, that's cool. But
Mhm.
I cannot, like John himself, I cannot, separate myself
Mhm.
from
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
two.
It's one of
is
those.
hard.
It's like when people say the book is better.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's
because they've read it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the book explains a lot more.
And I keep saying, I'm envious of the people who can watch this show who haven't played the game because they truly enjoy it because they're experiencing all this for the first time. But we'll get into a little bit more about that. All right, ladies, it's your turn. Like the guys have been bashing the show, it's your turn to defend it. Go.
Dang. Jeez.
So show us what you got. Show us what you
Okay.
got.
So first things first, like John says, disclaimer. I did not play the second game. So I was brand new to all of this.
Mhm.
Fresh eyes, I guess. I enjoyed the show very much. And it's because just the I love the way they explained Ellie and Joel's connection further.
Mhm.
It really grabbed at your heartstrings. And it's like, I just liked also the music that they used.
The music was good.
And I actually did a little sneak peek of what the walkthrough was of the game just to compare a little bit. And I saw a lot of similarities. I mean, I know there's things here and there where transitions were different,
Mhm.
but overall, I don't think it was half bad.
No.
Not to the point where you're going to hate someone's character.
Yeah. Well, you can hate the character. Just
I
don't
mean,
hate the actor.
I know, but I'm talking about like they take it way too personal.
Yeah.
This is a person, like Matt said, this is a person playing it the way that the direction was given.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I don't really fault her for playing Ellie the way she did.
Yeah.
I I don't know, Lane, you want to say anything? Jump in there.
I loved the series, and I just want to go out and say that the person that worked on the game worked on the show, and they purposefully changed stuff from the game to make it different for TV. So the stuff you're mad about because it's so different from the game, it's all intentional. And they didn't want to just take the game and put it right into the TV, into a TV format, because that is not necessarily palpable for all people that are watching.
Plus, it would have gotten like an
And-
NC-17 rating.
Not really.
Yeah,
mad.
And
Yeah, you have to take into
And-
account trying to cast a wider net.
Yeah.
exactly, there's a lot of stuff in the game that's really fucked up,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
You guys said yourself, it's real
Yeah.
fucked
Oh,
up.
yeah.
And to
Yes. Oh yeah.
put that in TV show would be really intense for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think it would still get a negative rating even if they took everything right from the game and to
Mhm.
a show.
Mhm.
It would still get backlash from people because all the intense torture,
Mhm.
having, like, I mean, the torture scenes they did were pretty fucking fucked up
Yeah.
for
they were.
TV themselves.
Dude,
I mean,
dude,
it
I
was rough
couldn't
to
stomach
fucking
them.
watch, man. Like,
Yeah.
you guys can't.
It-
Especially
know what I
the one
mean?
with Isaac and the Seraphite.
Yeah, no, to me it was very
Yeah.
it was very
I
hard
really
for me
like
to
that
watch
scene.
Oh my
The
god.
cookware.
To me, no, I was
Well-
very, very distraught when I saw something like
Uh,
that. And not to
Yeah.
mention about the Seraphite children.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was
Yeah,
pretty hard.
That really, especially coming from me because I'm a mom,
Yeah,
it really was disheartening.
yeah. It
Yeah.
was a hard scene to watch.
So, I mean, you gotta understand, like, you can only do so much for TV and, like, make it so people won't
Mhm.
hate it still. And I
Mhm.
understand why the people that are really intense fans of the games are mad, but
Mhm.
you also have to understand, like, it's all intentional. They're not just doing it because fuck you people that like the game. Fuck you, we
Yeah.
don't give a shit. Because the man that made those fucking games was
Mhm.
was a
Greenlit
part
it.
of this show.
Neil Druckmann.
He was a part of it, a play and everything.
Mhm.
And, I think they wanted to focus more on not so much Ellie being a pissed off 19-year-old sought out after revenge, but how trauma is passed down through generations and how you can either be the one to fix it or you can
Yes.
be the one to keep it going, and all you can really fucking do is hope that your kid's going to do a better job than you did. And it's kind of like really deep diving in relationship, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, maybe it seemed like they fast forward a bunch of stuff, but it's like it's also a show and they're limited to the amount of stuff that HBO will let them do at the same time.
Mhm.
So they're kind of working with what they got.
Yeah.
They've even hinted at doing 3 seasons to explain this game.
I
So
feel like
maybe
that
we'll
would be
get.
good. Mm-hmm.
So if they do decide to do that, maybe there's just more that they can expand on that maybe they missed in the beginning, and they can maybe loop back on with some flashback scenes or something. Who knows?
Mhm.
Like I'm fucking amazed you motherfucker the dog.
Mhm.
Say that
We
again.
didn't. He broke up a little bit. So what
I'm
about
like-
the dog?
I don't
Alice?
mention the dog. Yes.
Alice.
She wasn't in
Right?
it. Didn't they?
Exactly.
Ellie didn't. Yeah, that would be kind
Right?
of fucked up for her because I didn't like that. That's another thing with like the pacing. Like you stab Alice before you meet Alice.
Mhm.
Mhm. And
yeah,
so
that was fucked up.
yeah, and so
Well,
guy-
they didn't
the
show
other-
Shimmer getting blown up either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, the guy that, the other guy that does this, the other co-creator of the show, like, he intentionally, like, he worked on the show Chernobyl. Did you guys watch that show at all?
That was
No,
a
but
good
I'm
show.
aware of it.
That was
I
a good
did.
show.
Well, in that show, like, there's some dog deaths in that show.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I just didn't want to put another dog death in another show that I worked on.
Right.
Left the alley out. And you know what? I'm kind of glad because I didn't want to see Ellie stab a dog. Like that would really like get like she would get even more hate.
Yes.
Bella Ramsey would get so
Yeah.
much more hate for killing that dog than she is already for being an autistic queer person who's just trying to represent another queer person in a video game. And I think she's doing a great job at that.
She's autistic? Bella Ramsey?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Look at that.
Yeah, that's why her face is the way it is, and her facial expressions are certain ways, and that's why she's kind of weird. Like, she's like on the spectrum. She got diagnosed while filming the first season of Last of Us.
Wow, that's crazy. Look at that.
I saw an
Yeah.
AI picture of her as Rogue, and people were suggesting she play Rogue, and I thought it looked pretty good.
Mhm.
I think that would
So-
be interesting.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, so just a lot of hate on her is
Yeah.
just like you guys said, Harry. And she's just she's acting the way that she's being directed and written to act and
Yeah.
be. And so it's just leave her alone. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
for reals.
I think
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
the
And
I think-
we see that happen way too much.
Yeah, I think that the way that they fast forward the love story between Dina and Ellie was really cute. Because I thought that like once we establish that, then you can kind of focus a little bit more on flashing back of what, or not even flashing back, side flashes, flashing
Yeah.
back to like what some characters.
Yes.
It's like I just like how they broke up stuff, so we're not just focusing on
One thing.
just
I
what
will-
Ellie and Dina were doing the whole time.
I will say one thing about
Um,
this show, about this season. I like that they fleshed out the side characters a little better. One in particular was Eugene. You guys remember his arc in the game, right, John, Matt?
Yeah, you don't see
Yeah.
him.
You
You
don't
see a
see
picture
him.
of him.
And this
Yeah,
one,
he's-
he's actually played by Cypher
I know. I thought
from The
that was-
Matrix. And I love the fact that Catherine O'Hara is his wife.
Oh, I love that character. Her
And the
that character.
scene, the scene in the episode where they find him and we find out why Joel kills him, because you actually learn that in the first episode. You learn that Joel killed Eugene.
That was another really good scene. Sorry to interrupt that, but
No,
like,
you're good. You're good.
as far as
Um,
like things I like, that whole even though it was completely different, but the
Mhm.
way she's just like, you know what, fuck it, and she tells
Yes.
Joel why she hates him.
yes,
I thought that was. I would like more stuff like that for
Yeah.
season 2. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
Because like I understand like what Lane said, where you can't like they purposely change things, but it worked in season 1 of The Last of Us.
you really
And I-
did. Yeah.
and I enjoyed the first season,
hmm
but I don't know what happened with season 2. I felt like
I just think the game is more brutal. The
It
second
is.
game is more
It really
brutal
is.
than the
Yeah.
It
But
really
Yeah.
is.
I was
do say
wondering
this.
if-
like.
Oh,
I mean, Tess dies in the first game, and that fucking sucks because the game was supposed to be like about her and Ellie. Like Joel wasn't even supposed to be there, and that
Right,
would have
yes.
changed the.
The original concept was
The
going to be Tess and
whole-
Ellie.
Yeah,
I would
so
like
that
to
would have
see
been
that.
great.
Mhm.
But like that, like she, dies, and then there's nothing really brutal that happens. Like, I mean, okay, look, Henry and his brother. That story
I was about to
fucked
say the
up,
same.
Okay, that was messed up. I will say, but like
Mhm.
in terms of like, nobody was beating anybody to death. Okay,
Well,
Mhm.
you do
There were-
remember when Abby chops off the guy that was trying to assault her. But I think everybody
mean,
liked
Ellie.
that scene.
That guy's played by Nolan North.
Yeah, but I think everybody liked that scene.
Yeah. My question about the going back to the Eugene scene in the show, it made me realize I don't know if I have to watch season 1 again. I know that the spores thing is different. They have that hive mind thing that's
Yep.
different, but in the game, if you get bit, it takes you about 2 days
Yeah.
to turn.
Mhm.
And in the show, they were implying that it was gonna
An hour.
like in
An
a
hour,
couple
an
of
hour or two.
hours,
Mhm.
like hour or
Mhm.
two. So I was just like when Joel was thinking about like they were hinting that Joel was going to shoot this person. I'm like, dude, he's got like 2 days. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But it turns out no. I guess that's different.
Okay, so this is where I have the discrepancy a little bit too, John. It's like Ellie tells
Joel.
no. Ellie tells
The wife.
Yeah, Catherine O'Hara's character. I forget.
No.
Yeah.
Isabella Merced's character.
Oh, Dina.
Dina. She tells Dina like, I'm gonna sleep here and you're gonna watch me and you're gonna see I'm not gonna turn. But that kind of made me inference, wait a minute, so it takes a day or an hour?
From what I've read in the game, because there are parts in the game you can read stuff, medical stuff. It depends where you get bitten. So if you get bitten in the leg or in the arm, it can take up to 2 days.
So it depends where you get bitten.
Tess got it right here, and she said 2 days.
Tess got it here. It would have taken about a day and a half, and she says that I have about a day and a half.
Okay, so it just depends on where you're bitten, the amount of time you have
to the brain. Your time goes down.
Well, to be specific, she says within 2 days.
Yeah,
everybody turns within.
Yeah, everybody turns within 2 days, but it depends. Depending where you get bitten, it could take a little longer. Also, in one of the medical journals you read, supposedly if you cut off the limb, like not even a couple minutes before you get bitten, after you get bitten, there's a chance you could survive.
Chance.
I mean, kind of like how in Walking Dead when they chops
off his leg
or his arm.
Was it his arm or his leg?
It was his foot.
Everybody got.
It was his hand.
Everybody hates Chris.
Oh, so that happened.
We're talking about Rick. The fuck, Rick gets his fucking hand chopped off.
Yeah, in the comics, yeah.
Okay.
The show.
He wasn't infected though.
Fuck the show.
All right, we're getting off.
But he wasn't infected in the comic.
Listen, off track. Get back to last.
Lane. One thing that, and I know all you guys. I don't know if you guys knew about this show. The moment Joel was portrayed, his death was portrayed. The people who were praising the show immediately turned on against the people who made the show. What's your guys' take on that? Like you and Jen, like, because everybody who was hating the show was mostly the gamers, but the fans that were watching the show, they were praising it, they were loving it. The moment Joel dies, they turn. What do you think? What do you have to say to that right there?
I don't see why they would. I mean, for me, I don't hate it because it gives more incentive of Ellie doing what she needs to do, what she thinks she needs to do. Because she loved Joel, like a dad. So it just, like sends her on the path of revenge.
What's your take on that thing?
Just a lot of the Pedro Pascal fans just being mad that they don't get a full season of Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Daddy?
Yeah, Daddy Pedro. So that's the reason why they changed the whole, like you said, they changed it because they couldn't have Pedro Pascal in another series with his face time.
Right.
No, really. They just did it. They do it in Mandalorian and they were like, we can't do this again. Like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure they probably would have had to pay him more to have his face covered. You know what I'm saying? I feel like. So they were like, nah, we got to change the story. But I do like that they did change the story to them being connected, like a more of a hive mind, because that's how, like, fungus
does work
are.
like that.
So it makes sense. It made so much sense to me.
It is a scientific fact that fungi has been proven that in their roots in their underworld network, it can span miles.
It can.
There's even one the size of a small state in the Amazon, apparently. And it's all one giant fungus. It's crazy.
Yeah. I thought that was cool.
Don't eat any bread from here on, you guys.
But yeah, I think I definitely think a lot of it had to do with like the lack of Pedro Pascal. I can't say it was all 100% that, but I think it was just a lot of not having him, and Joel's not there, aka Pedro Pascal's not around anymore. You're just like, whatever.
It could be though that you killed one of the characters they made us love. So people might be.
Dude, that
That's-
too. That too.
And so, and because he's kind of, he is a main character, people don't like to see main characters die.
True, that too.
Then why did so many people watch Game of Thrones? It was like the
Because
rule that
People
a
that
main
like to
if you
stuff,
fall in love with this character,
they
he will
enjoy
die.
pain.
And it's funny because Pedro dies in that one too.
He does. He
Sure
gets his head
does.
crushed by the mountain.
Oh Lord,
He gets his
Yeah,
head
so he
crushed
gets
in
his
it, too.
head bashed in that one too.
twice.
The
Ay, ay,
trauma.
Buy him a helmet for his
PTSD.
birthday.
That's what it was. It was
Dude,
everyone
I just
who watched Game of Thrones just had PTSD moment, and they're just like, thumbs down, thumbs down.
Dude, they're reliving that like not again, not again. Oh man, one thing I really liked
Funny.
when that episode aired, people went to social media and just flooded it with videos of their significant others or friends reacting to that, especially the gamers who played the game. They were watching their friends going like, "What? Why? Huh?" Just watching Pedro, and then the gamers are like, "Yup, now you get to suffer."
That's so
Dude,
funny.
Dude, on a side note though, what is up with that girl, Isabella Mercer, getting pregnant and both the things she's ever seen in it?
Yeah,
Like
because she did
in
get
early
pregnant.
Romulus, she had the alien baby. And now she's pregnant again in this show. I was like, okay. Is there a pattern?
Well, I mean, Dana's supposed to be pregnant, which I didn't like that scene too much.
Yeah, you mean when
It
she's
didn't-
like, "I'm gonna be a dad."
Yeah, it's because it didn't feel
When in
authentic.
the game, she's like, "Now you're a burden."
No, she goes, "You're a fucking burden." I mean, that's probably not the right way to react to that. I was shocked when I first played the game and I heard Ellie
Mhm.
say that to Dana. And
She
I was
was
like, holy
kidding.
shit.
Mhm.
She also doesn't
And you see
apologize.
why that
They just
they
move
didn't
past
put that
it.
in the show?
Yeah.
I
But
know.
But that's what I mean
why
by
certain things
impact.
gotta be changed.
I think the directors knew Bella Ramsey was gonna get flagged for this show, so like, let's try to keep things from adding fuel to that fire.
Mhm.
But
Let's keep
that's
that
where
out.
the impact comes in because like the conversation where like Ellie takes off her shirt and she's like all busted up and stuff.
Mhm.
She says to Dana, "I don't want to lose you." After they have a big fight and then Dana gets
Mhm.
sick
Mhm.
and like and then after she kills Nora,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like they go through all that shit and then she like it sinks in that she loves Dana and that she loves her and like she doesn't want to lose her, so she tells Dana this. And I've like so the lines that they choose in the game versus the show has a lot to do with the impact, because like when that same scene happens in the show where she's sitting there with her shirt off, she tells Dana how like she could have had a cure and all this other stuff, and then Dana's upset with her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, my life could have meant something. Yeah.
Dina, how do you say the name?
Dina? Or is it
Dina.
Dina? or
I say
Dana?
Dina.
Okay.
It's Dina.
Yeah, it's Dina.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to ask you guys as well. Another character that got a lot of flack in this was the actress who is playing Abby. One of the main things was that she just didn't have her build. But if you remember the game, Matt, actually John, you should remember it. You know that in the scene where they show Abby, she's not built yet. It's
at the hospital.
Exactly. It's only when we transition to start playing as her that she's bulked up.
Yeah,
Do you think, or would you like them to have the actress bulk up for season 3?
Yes. And this is why.
Well, no, it wouldn't
because-
make sense because they've already shot the end of The Last Day in Seattle.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
could always make it so like, oh, she bulked up further down. Plus, don't forget,
But
she's
it's
wearing
3
a-
days. It's 3 days. She would have to
Yeah.
gain a shitload of muscle mass and lose it in 3 days to
Yeah.
make that scene for
happen.
continuity.
Let me
Well-
let me hear what Matt has to say though.
Okay, if they didn't show her all skinny and stuff like they did at the end of season 2, and they could like have her bulk up, I would say yes, have her bulk up, because that woman is a tank, not in the sense like
Like Joel.
yeah, but like video game tanks. Some
Mhm.
like that's strong that could deal damage and take damage.
Yeah.
And it translate gameplay wise because when you come across the scars or
Seraphites.
Seraphites, there you go. when when you come across them, when you're playing as Ellie, there's this door you open, and one of the brutes kicks it open, picks up Ellie, and throws her across the counter.
Mhm.
And I made a mistake of taking a brick and throwing it directly at the brute, and then charged him and tried to melee. This guy knocked me down and then murdered me.
Yeah.
Well,
You
that'll happen.
can't- Yeah, as Ellie, you cannot take the brutes on head straight ahead. You have to be smart about what you're doing.
Yeah.
You flank
good
them.
at-
You shoot. Yeah,
Get good at dodging.
get good
Is it
at
Ellie or
dodging.
Abby?
Ellie.
As Ellie, as Abby, you can go in there and swing on them and beat the fuck out of them
Go to
because
toe to toe.
Abby has the muscle and the size for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
stats for the game, Abby's main advantage is melee damage. If you play the
Yeah.
roguelike No Return,
Yeah.
where you
Mhm.
go to like the arcade, but that's one of her. But I mean, that's that.
mhm.
They would have to change the narrative. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but but even in modern day combat sports like boxing, MMA, it doesn't matter if it's man versus man or women versus women. There's weight classes for a reason.
Yeah.
If you have someone that's bigger, they're going to be able to hurt you more.
Mhm.
If you're the smaller person. I'm not saying a small person can't win, but it's a difficult
Mhm.
situation.
Yeah.
That's why, like with boxing and MMA,
Yes.
or it's weight classes, and everyone in those weight classes are relatively the same size.
Okay.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
have a
you-
fair advantage.
Yeah. John, what do you have to say?
I don't care for it.
Yeah.
I don't care for it because it's just an aesthetic. Even if there is in the game, to melee damage or whatever, there's ways you can do that with, present a strong person without having to be like,
Muscular.
muscular.
Mhm.
A person can be strong without being muscular.
True. What's your take on that, Lane?
I mean, I don't necessarily feel like this actress needs to change her body shape
Mhm.
for this role. If she wants to, that would be cool.
Yeah.
But I think like her nailing the feel of the character
Mhm.
is more looking like the character
Mhm.
from the game.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's more important. Like,
Mhm.
plus it's hard to bulk up. Like, as a woman,
Mhm.
like, it's
Yes.
not as easy as it is for dudes to just like
Mhm.
fucking put a bunch of weight up on your fucking upper body. Like,
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
it's not as easy. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's impossible.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Especially, the
but-
diet you have to go on. Because exercise and diet go
mean,
hand in hand.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying like guys, if this actress did come back looking a little bit different for the what was it gonna be third season? Third
Yeah.
season.
Third season.
I bet she will. I bet you she will do a little bit of
Mhm.
working out.
Yeah.
But is she gonna look like fucking she can
Yeah.
fucking lift a car off your corpse? No.
Right.
You,
Don't
what?
punch through a brick wall. I don't think so.
if she wanted to, if her accord to play the character, if she really wanted to, she could just get toned.
Yeah.
She doesn't,
I would like her to get the Linda Hamilton build.
the Sigourney Weaver look.
Yeah.
Dude, have you seen Sophie Turner getting ready for to be fucking Laura Croft as Tomb Raider?
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
They're doing another one.
Yeah, they're
Like a
rebooting it for
a
the 50th time.
series, a TV series, a Prime
Yeah.
series.
Okay.
Did you
Oh,
guys
okay.
know? Did you guys know there's a reason why the producers and the directors, well, the studio just didn't have her bulk
Well,
up?
Let me just put this out there real quick. I would like to see her bulk up if they're going to have her fall close to the same narrative as in the game. But if they change like the aspects, which they probably more than likely will, I think her body size is fine.
Mhm.
They'll probably have her more CQC effective. But
Yeah,
did you know that there's a reason why the studios didn't have her bulk up?
Why is that?
Mm.
So if you guys
She'd have to
remember,
maintain it.
if you guys remember Laura Bailey, the voice actress who voiced Abby in the game,
Mhm.
she got a lot of flack for that.
Yeah, she
I
got
guess
death
people
threats.
did not just dude,
For
like
what?
severe death threats, not just so much for the character portrayal, but because of how it looked. I guess people were it was off putting for them, which I say, dude,
What?
yeah, I know.
What? People are mad at muscle mommies? What the
Yeah.
fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, dude, she got flack for that. It's sad, but it's true, and you can
I
go
mean,
on
have
Reddit,
you not seen Rhea
Oh my-
Ripley? Like,
right? Like,
That there is women bodybuilders,
yeah,
right?
exactly. So I guess for whatever reason, but regardless, she got flack for that.
Oh God.
And she actually told the girl who plays Abby in the live action,
Okay.
what's her name again? Caitlin Dever.
Caitlin.
She told her, and she told the studio, maybe let's not have her bulk up, because she was afraid
For
that
her.
she would get the flack as well. I mean, she still got flack, but it was because she just didn't look like Abby, which
You know-
makes no sense to me.
At this
What's
point,
ironic is that light's gone.
The
Oh,
irony,
she went.
right?
No,
Hang on, folks, we got some technical difficulties.
Oh,
We
there we
thought
go.
we lost Elaine.
what was ironic about it is that the actress who plays Abby in the game looks exactly like Abby, like in the face, but she's not like built
No, she's not built
like that
her.
at all. She looks it's kind of freaky. She looks exactly like
Well, they
Abby.
use mocap, remember?
Yeah, I mean,
Those
technology
things,
is
yeah.
freaking dope now.
Mhm.
But yeah, she's
But-
not like jacked like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I just thought it's insane and ridiculous that people like mistreated her for something like that.
Yeah.
It's
but
Like
it's
the voice actress,
that just
to the point where she pleaded and said, like, please don't do that, so you don't get that flag. And yet the
I-
girl got flagged.
I have a theory about that, and it's basically me and Matt have talked about it before. The
Is
the
you're damned
story.
if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Well,
I
no,
know.
the story in the
Yeah.
first one, at its
Is
like
everybody-
base form, is pretty simple. Like, girl's immune, take her across the country to make the cure.
Yeah.
Easy to digest, but there's a million different things in the game that make it worth talking about. Like how Joel's watch is broken at the time of his daughter's death,
Yeah.
and there's a million other little details. Every scene, every cutscene has like 20 different things we could talk about, but the
Oh, yeah.
overall story
Yes.
is very simple.
Mhm.
The second one, I think, does a good job of that, but the overall story isn't quite as easily digestible.
No,
And I
it's not.
think when people have to think a little bit, they get pissed off and don't understand it. And a lot of people, so that's where it all kind of like people didn't get the ending. They didn't
Yeah.
get that Joel was supposed to be
Yes.
murdered, which, in my opinion, was the only real way to progress the story.
No, yeah, you're
and,
right.
And then that turns into people just being gross and sending death threats and harassing people
Yeah.
because you just don't play the fucking game. I'll play it.
They have
It's
no
fine.
reason. They have no valid reason to complain, so they focus on
Little shit.
superficial stuff.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like, for that because they can't bitch about anything else.
No.
Like they just want something to complain. Some people just want to complain just
Yeah.
for the sake to complain.
Yeah, but how sad
You know?
is that, dude? Like that these
It's
This is
very
more
sad.
about them
that
though, you
poor
know?
girls
I
are getting like all this crap because of idiots like that. Just-
I really hope that for season 3, like I know they're going to change things about the narrative. That's obvious. I mean, clearly that's going to happen, but I really hope
Mhm.
it's what they want to do and not what fans pressure them into doing, which has happened
know.
in movies like Sonic the Hedgehog. Which
That's
that was for the better in my
that
opinion.
was
But
really better though.
but that's still a thing, though. The
One of
idea
how many
that fans
times, though.
can, the ending of
Can
Mass
bully.
Effect 3,
Yeah.
yes.
how fans
Yeah.
can bitch enough and then they're like, fine, we'll change
They
it.
can
Like, I
bully,
really hope,
yeah.
I don't think Neil Druckmann is the kind of person who would do something like that, but I just really hope they don't, like, I don't know, completely change the ending because
Yeah.
people said
I
they
just
didn't
really
like
wish
it or
that
they
they
didn't get
do
it.
stick to their vision then
Yeah.
of what they want it to be and not
Yeah.
what, like you said,
Yeah.
what go by what people want to see or hear or
Yeah.
you know?
So that brings us to our last part of this review, and that's I want to do some predictions of how you guys would like to see season 3 play out. So, Lane, why don't you go first? Because you kind of been the one who's very supportive of the show. You and Jen, anyways.
I was a little.
Mm,
I am kind of really excited to see Abby's story. I know like she got a lot of hate, but like
Mhm.
her and I mean the whole part of the game is like her and Ellie are like the same side, two sides of the same coin,
yeah.
Mhm.
and you're just seeing two girl and fucking dad on a revenge streak to get revenge on their fucking dad's deaths. You know, so it's just like so I'm very interested to see how they're going to try to humanize Abby and make her a relatable character. In to make her not such the bad guy, because she's just so hated all around, and I think it's not fair, because it's all the Joel fanboys that hated her in the games, and now it's all like the
Pedro
Joel
Pascal
fanboys / Pedro Pascal fan hater in the show. So it's just like this poor character cannot get a break.
For
And
real.
the actresses that portray her cannot get a break either.
Right?
And I just hope that this next season does this character justice, so like people can just leave Brittany alone, you know what I'm saying?
Right?
Leave her,
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it.
and it's just because everyone that I know I've talked to that have like actually played the games, and John, you are one of the people that say this, like Abby is actually a good character.
Yeah,
She's an amazing character.
she's fucking great.
And so it's just like I really do want to see this character, and I really hope the show does her justice, and we can actually see how cool she is. So
Yeah. All right, Jen, what's something you would like to see in the next season?
What Lane said, basically, because I am curious. Like at first, I was like, nah, I don't know if I like her character. But then as I went, I'm like, you know what? Well, they did kill her dad.
Yeah.
So she's, like, I mean, how would you react if they killed your dad?
True.
You wouldn't act
or
any
any of your
different.
parents. If it was any of your parents and you were in the
If anybody that you love, if they were killed, wouldn't you want justice?
Yeah. Or retribution.
Exactly.
Either one.
So I'm really, really curious to see how well her story arc is gonna do, based on like her the relationship between her and Isaac. I'm actually interested in seeing that, because he spoke really highly of her, and like kind of like a daughter.
Well, there's a reason behind it, but we can.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm, because I don't really,
that.
since I don't know.
We can talk about that when the next season comes
that's
up.
where the entrance for me lies there, and to learn more of him, if we get to see more of that character, Isaac.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't we have to wait years?
We're gonna see a lot more.
So yeah.
Did they say we have to wait like a year or two before the next season comes out?
It's about a year or two. Yeah, they waited 2 years for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Matt, your turn. What's something you would like to see for season 3?
Well, going into season 3 after watching this, I'm not going to expect much.
Okay.
But
lowered expectations.
Pretty much. I just hope, best case scenario, they make it enjoyable like season 1 was. Like, I know like the changes are there and know why they're there, and I can respect that. But like I said, with like even like the narratives that are set up in season 2, it's not exactly consistent, and it's not as impactful. I mean, they could have like versus what happened in season 1, like the conversations that the characters have and the decisions that they make. It's consistent and it's impactful. That's all I'm really asking for, is consistency and good impact of like how they develop. And also develop Ellie better. Like give her a better writer. Fire the guy who wrote her.
Maybe let's have somebody play the game, and then have Bella Ramsey's portray the character as she acts in the game. Because one thing I didn't like is like Ellie in the game, she's very stoic, she's very dry, she doesn't joke around as much. I mean, you see that in the flashbacks, but dude,
well, that's because she's happy. She has some sort of happiness, and when they killed Joel, all that was taken away.
All that goes away, yeah.
But
like she'll make a quip here and there, but not like she was in the first game.
Or
she did die a little, It's like dying a little.
And like there was no there's no character development for her in this season, and that's the one thing I don't like. That's like the major thing I don't like.
Yeah, they
If I'm
kept her.
being
They
complete,
kept her the same Ellie as in season 1. Yeah.
yeah, and that's like probably the major thing. Your main character has no character development. You
Yeah,
can
when your side characters resonate more than the main character, that says something.
Yeah.
And they did. They really did stand out more. Dina, Isabel Mercer as Dina did pretty good. Especially the scene where she's talking about the first person she kills. That was a good scene.
Yes.
Even Joseph, is it Joseph or Justin?
Jesse.
Sorry. Jesse, they did a great job portraying him. The part that John said about him being kind of different in the whole I would have gone with you guys versus like, no, I need to be this guy, I need to look out for my community was a bit of a conflict, but at the same time you can understand because again he did make good points. But yeah, other than that, I think Ellie's should be their focus to maybe have her portray Bella Ramsey to have her portray a little better this time. But
or give her a development.
Heck, maybe have Bella Ramsey play the game. That should be homework.
Characters. I really enjoy Catherine O'Hara's character.
Yes, that's a new character too, by the way, huh?
Like,
Yeah.
like especially the scene in the diner where Joel walks in. She's like, "What do you think we have a sign? Like other people have a sign, like in the penis show."
Do I have like a sign like Lucy does in the doc? Is it? What's your hopes for season 3?
I wasn't quite finished.
Oh, my bad.
I would say, and when it comes to Abby, like they've really got to figure out a way for people to like this character. They got to pull something out of their asses. And that's because a game is a lot more immersive, and so when you play as her, it shows you that she has friends, she has a family, she has this community that she cares about. And also when you meet
up and then don't know how to pull at your heartstrings for that one.
In the game, there's one pivotal scene that we see, which is kind of what turns people to start liking her. You guys remember the scene I'm talking about, right?
Is that when she rescues Lev?
That's the one.
Where she comes across Lev and Lev's older sister, I believe.
Yara.
That's the one.
Yeah. She doesn't know these people, and she sees them as the enemy. But she takes a minute and helps them. And then she and then when the older sister dies, she takes Lev under her she takes care of her. And so John said this to me once, and he said that people who hate Abby just for the sake of hating her because she killed Joel, they are just selfish people with their feelings.
Yeah.
That's paraphrasing, but yeah.
That's fair.
Are you?
I love that scene where they kill. Spoiler alert: Lev's sister dies, and they escape, and she's crying to Abby. And she goes, "Those are your fucking people." She goes, "You are my people."
Yeah,
it made me feel things.
Yeah,
what were you gonna say, Jen?
I don't skip that one.
It's. I mean, like I don't think she's a heartless person. You know what I'm saying? She's just grieving.
Yeah.
She's just trying to deal with everything that happened, you know? And come on, like people have the right to fall apart when someone dies, you know?
Yeah.
Especially if they're brutally murdered and shot in the head.
True. We lost Lane again. Are you done with your take, Matt, or you got a little more?
I think that's pretty much it, except no, you know what? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just give Ellie any sort of development and find a way to make people fall in love with Abby, because she's an amazing character, and it didn't even take me a couple playthroughs. My first playthrough, I fell in love with this character because I saw who she is, and also it shows it really shows who the WLF are really about.
Yeah.
But they're not a bunch of assholes like the show makes them out to be. The reason why they're attacking people is because they have Tommy out there killing a shit ton of them.
Yeah.
I
But
kind of forgot to mention that
we'll
part.
see that. Yeah,
I
we'll
like
see
Tommy.
then in season 2 and season 3. All right, John. What's something you hope for season 3?
Well, firstly, I think they could wrap this up in one more season. I
Really?
don't
You
see
think?
how they're. Well, I mean, there's just Abby's story and then the short Santa Barbara chapter at the end.
Yeah, that's it.
It's the. But if they want to split it up, I just hope they don't take that Santa Barbara section and make that a whole season. I think that would be kind of overkill.
That'd be hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but well, the combat is not the combat and the brutality have already established really isn't there compared to the game. I hope they keep. I really liked the ending of the game, and if you don't know, I mean, it's came out 5 years ago, so spoiler alert, and it's going to be different regardless. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that something different is going to happen in some way. But I hope they keep the concept that at some point somebody just has to let
And
go and
Mhm.
stop.
That's
Yeah.
what Jen said.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be different. I mean, with the way the game story plays out is very different than the way the show story plays out in the game. Everybody in that room except Abby, when Joel dies,
Yeah.
gets murdered.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
90% of them are like Tommy gets a couple of them off camera and they find the bodies. One of them is one of the dead WLF people in the TV station.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them is like Tommy and Ellie.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
they fucking take out everybody. It's crazy. Like, so it starts with Joel killing her father, and then she takes revenge. And as a result of that, every single one of her friends gets murdered.
Gets murdered.
She makes, she makes new attachments and meets new people
Mhm.
along the way in the story. But everyone from her previous life before she met Lev is taken away from her,
Oh yeah.
and that's just gonna keep escalating. So I just hope that it's going to be done in a different way, obviously, but I hope that the next season or the way they end it still has that same
impact.
that's a word, yes.
Mhm.
Like the same kind of premise,
I mean,
I guess.
it's a good message about, hate is just gonna big up more hate.
Yep.
So
Big hates it.
you need to be the one to be like enough.
Yeah. The whole.
And I think
Oxford
it's a
Knight.
big message. I think they'll find a way to make it stick, to
Mhm.
get that for the finale. I mean,
Yeah.
I would want that,
Well,
to be honest.
if you guys really want people to kind of fall in love with Abby, one thing they can change, because in the end of the game, Ellie is the one who's about to kill Abby. Spoiler alert.
Mhm.
But she decides to, you know what? No, take Lev and leave, and that's the end of the game.
And Ellie loses just about everything. Dina says,
Yeah.
if you leave, we won't be here when you get back. And she gets 2 of her fingers bitten off
Yeah.
and goes to play Joel's guitar and she can't play it anymore.
No.
And walks off into the sunset as the credits roll. Kind of a downer,
Exactly.
but that's how the game ends.
So
Mhm.
I think one thing I think they could do is that have Abby be the one who's about to kill Ellie, and she says, "You know what? No,
Mhm.
we can't do this anymore.
Mhm.
Go, live your life, and I'm gonna do the same."
Oh, let her take the high road.
If you want to change that aspect, I think it would get a better reaction
Mhm.
than to the one that we get in the game.
Okay.
Simply because this is a person who has every right
Mhm.
to kill Ellie,
Oh yeah.
like even more so at the end.
Yeah, because of
Yeah.
all the people she killed.
Still got Scooby
And
and the gang.
And for her to say, like, you know what? No,
Along with Scrappy.
that's enough.
Yes.
No more killing.
Uh-huh.
It's also interesting. I wonder if they're going to keep the so the scene at the end of season 2 where they're in the lobby of that theater and
Yeah.
she's like, you killed all my friends, and they're talking back and forth. That is the
Mhm.
only conversation that Ellie and Abby ever have. It is
Yeah.
on site every
Mhm.
time they encounter each other.
They go at
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
they
it's funny
don't talk
because-
to each other once.
And it's funny because
Well, they don't really know each other.
every fight scene they have, the only reason, and Abby is always the one who's dominating the fights. Part of the reason why Matt wants Abby to be bulkier. The only reason Abby never gets to kill Ellie in those scenes is because somebody else gets threatened or is about to get killed, so she has to go save that person.
Oh, also in the game, Ellie doesn't know that was her father.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that conversation
Does
that
she-
happens with Nora does not
Yes.
happen in the game.
No.
Okay. Does
It's
she
just- it
ever
does, but it's
find
different.
out though? Like,
Yeah.
It is different. She
Not
does
that I'm
say,
aware of,
She
no.
does say that bitch got exactly what he
Yeah,
deserved.
stuff like that, and
Yeah.
that he killed everybody at the hospital and stuff. But
Yeah.
it's the part where Nora mentions in the show that that was
That
Abby's
was her
dad.
dad. Mhm.
That wasn't
that
in
never
the-
happened in the
Yeah,
game.
so I don't know if
okay.
she even gives a shit. Honestly, like I mean, after she found out, it's just violent, hate-filled revenge.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the
Mhm.
game, I had a question.
What's
so does because in the show, Joel does fess up after Ellie tells him, "Hey,
Yes.
tell me the truth this time." Does he really do that?
Yes. In the
Yeah.
game, Ellie takes off to
And she
back
goes
to
to the-
Seattle.
Mhm.
No, not Seattle, but Salt Lake. She goes back to that same hospital, and she finds a tape, and she listens to it,
And you can hear gunfire.
and you can hear
Mm.
gunfire, and
Mhm.
you could hear them
Joel.
talking about how there's a cure and all this other stuff, and that's
Okay.
when, and then Joel follows her out there to find her, and she tells him, she goes, "Look, you tell me the truth, and I'll go back to Jackson with you, no matter what.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You
But are you-
lied to me,
Mhm.
I'm gone."
Mhm.
I think you're talking about the porch scene, right? In the show,
Yep.
Yes.
where they're on the
Yes.
porch and it's night.
Yes.
That scene happens pretty much exactly the same in the game, more or less. But the
But in
difference
Salt
is like with the pacing, like I mentioned earlier, how you find things out later. That happens like towards the end of the game.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
way towards the end.
And you find out like she's like,
Okay.
I can't forgive you, but I'd be willing to try. And he
Mhm.
dies like the next day, I think.
Yeah, but I'm also talking about when he confesses, because
Yeah,
he
in St.
does
Mary's.
he does confess to Ellie, but Ellie, she turns around and she goes, "All right, I'll go back to Jackson with you, but we're done."
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why at like
Mm.
the beginning of the game,
Mm-hmm.
like Ellie has a very rocky relationship with Joel, and
okay.
and then you don't
Mhm.
find out why she takes this so personal. It's not
Mhm.
just the fact that her dad was murdered,
Mm-hmm.
but it's she was going to work on forgiving him, to have
Yeah.
a relationship with him again,
To be able
and
to-
that was
okay.
taken
Yes.
from her.
yeah.
Mm. Yes.
Isn't that how it always goes?
Mm.
Mhm.
When you decide
But
to
us-
change something and then the person dies.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
I was gonna say too, I hope for season 3 they really hope. I really hope they show the WLF in a different light, because right now they're showing them as like one of the
Terrorists.
villains,
Mhm.
as
Mhm.
terrorists, but in the game they're not. You can see their
Yeah, it's the
community.
Seraphites.
Yeah,
In my opinion, both groups are savages.
that's
No, the
true.
Seraphites are
That's
literal
my
savages.
opinion. No, but I mean both of them.
I can see
are-
where John is
Because
coming
nobody's,
from. But I can see where John is coming from. But my thought is that how did the WLF get so big the way they are? They had to recruit people and bring them in. But considering in the game, Tommy leaves like a day or so before Ellie, and he's out
Mhm.
there murdering the WLF, and that's why they have the orders from Isaac. Any stranger is shoot on sight, because they don't know who's out there who's killing their people.
Mhm.
I would imagine under normal circumstances, if you came across a WLF and you weren't like a Scar or anything like that, they would, talk to you, question you, and maybe bring you into their fold.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or
But we'll
in the
see.
Mhm.
yeah, we'll see.
Hopefully it doesn't take longer than 2 years.
So, talking about that, like, I mean, you can see that the people in the WLF aren't bad. And
Right.
remember that one scene when they were all the Fedra, when they were Fedra, and Isaac was
Yeah.
still there.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that scene
Drake and
in the tank or car, whatever.
APC.
The armor.
Yes,
Truck.
and then they were saying something that they were making, like, why they call them voters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that scene?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that right there tells me that Isaac is not a bad person, because he's like, we took their rights away from them,
Yeah.
How would you be, like have compassion,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounded like he wanted, you need to be more compassionate,
That scene was badass.
Yeah,
Like
I
when
know.
he throws the grenades and closes the
Yeah.
door on them.
Yeah.
But That's why I also really like the scene when he's torturing the scars guy, and it's not because he's torturing the person. I like
Mhm.
just how he monologues and talks about the cookware and how he
Oh,
couldn't
yeah.
afford good expensive stuff,
And
and
I was
then
like,
but
whatever.
now in the event of the apocalypse, he has
Mhm.
access to all this top tier cooking
Cooking
equipment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But he also
Uh,
says that he doesn't use it like, like
Like
in
he
the
would
way
like
he want
to.
to.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
but
you can
when
say, and you can see like the remorse of the things he has to do,
mhm.
the hard things he has to do.
But that's
Hmm.
what I was getting to as well. Like when he burns the dude's hand, and then he goes to torture him again, the dude holds out his hand, and
Hmm.
like
Oh yeah.
Isaac is like, and it shocks him a little. He's like, "Well,
Yeah.
fuck," and
Hmm.
then he
Because
shoots
he's not
him.
gonna break him.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
also like it's pretty surprising to like someone willingly give up like a body part or something.
For their belief.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Loyalty. Hmm.
All right, let's go ahead and just wrap it up, folks. Now, before we end this video, this episode, one thing I just want to say, whether you like the show, whether you don't, if you're a fan of the game, one thing, and I think we can all agree, if you're gonna hate the character, hate the character. There's nothing wrong with that.
Hmm.
The person behind that character
Hmm.
has nothing to do with it,
Oh
with
no.
what they're doing.
Mm-mm.
This is a job for them.
I
They're
don't.
paid to do this.
Yeah, I don't condone any
We do
nasty
not
behavior
condone it.
like that.
Yeah, like if you want to trash
There's
talk
no
the
reason for
character
it.
all the live long day, hey, we're all guilty of that.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, the person, the voice actor, the person doing a job,
Hmm.
please refrain from threatening them or
Hmm.
harassing them.
Yeah.
Like again, this is their job. This is what they're
Exactly.
paid to do.
It's a job that they're
Yeah.
doing to entertain you.
Yeah. Also, you're entitled to your opinion. You're more than welcome to share them, but please do them in a civilized manner.
Hmm.
Like I can assure you that we could have all been going like monkeys at it in this episode, but we all showed pretty good restraint. So I commend every one of you for that.
But I was also going to add to what you're saying in the fact that if you don't like something, have valid reasons. Same thing with liking something. Don't
Agreed.
say you like something because
You
you
just don't like
like it.
Hmm.
And if you don't like it, just don't say, I don't like it because
Yeah.
that person has a dumb face. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
But
same.
you
Like if you
do
have
that
nothing,
shit. Sorry.
yeah, yeah, you are.
Oh
guilty
my
of
god!
that, by
I
the way,
have
man.
clips. I have recordings.
But
well, I'm talking about you, John. No one else. Like,
but
come on.
yeah, like
Mhm.
don't hate for the sake of hate. At least show some valid reasons behind it.
Mhm.
And again, there's civil ways to do it.
Mhm. And there's another thing I want to add about the characters. It's like even though you guys, the fans aren't thrilled about Joel or any other. I think Pedro Pascal did a great job of being his version of Joel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
his
agree.
version of Joel.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that he tried to play it more like
Dad.
the dad
Mm-hmm.
Joel.
Yeah.
So I am appreciating the version of Joel that Pascal did and the version of the game.
Yeah.
Because you can see two different point of views,
Yeah.
of how the
Mhm.
character is. And I
I
like
didn't like the show, but I'll watch season 3. I'm curious.
I think we
Like,
all will.
honestly, like I didn't
We
like it.
kinda
But
have
I'm
to.
still gonna watch it.
We
Like,
kind of have to.
I'm
I
not
think
gonna
you're just
lie,
gonna
like,
watch it for Abby, huh?
Yeah.
probably Abby's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious. I want to see.
Yes.
I want to see how it ends. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know. Like, I read the Hunger Games. I liked the first one. I didn't like the second book, but I like how the third book ended.
Yeah.
So there's still a chance that there's something. There's going to be
Well, there's
more in
always
there that I
something,
like.
yeah. There's always something you like,
And who knows?
something you
Maybe
didn't,
the
overall
producers
like.
and the directors will listen and maybe tweak some things here and there.
Yeah.
You got any final thoughts, Lane?
No. Like, I don't know. I just like the show. I like the queer representation that the show has. I hope they keep that going
Mhm.
in season 3. And yeah, I just hate all the hate that everyone involved in the show is getting for no reason. And I
Mhm.
just think people need to appreciate the show as it is, because it's a show. It's not the game. The game is the game.
Exactly.
The show's the show, and they're taking enough to keep it connected, but you can tell that they're just trying to have two different takes on
Mm-hmm.
one story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're doing a good job at giving us kind of like a broader view of
Mm-hmm.
a story that we saw in the game that was just really gritty, really hard, and really
Yeah.
hard. Like, and it's just it's a rough game. It's a
It
rough
is a rough
game.
game. Yeah.
Okay, it's a rough game, and like,
Frankly, I'm surprised that game didn't get an NC-17
I don't-
rating.
I don't mind that the show isn't as rough.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I'm excited to see what they do, and just appreciate it for what it is, and don't have to have it so hardcore
Yeah. Just,
integrated and connected, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Even though I didn't care for it too much, it did inspire me to put the game back on, increase the difficulty level, and play through it again. So for that, it absolutely like
Yeah.
reignited that. So I was doing that right before.
mm-hmm.
That's why I was telling you, hey, message me when you send the invite, so I know when to turn my PlayStation off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people
Yeah.
are replaying those games again too
Yeah,
because of the
exactly.
show, so that's
Yeah.
great as
Yeah.
well.
They released the complete edition for part 2, and it's kind of sold out everywhere right now, which is pretty
What do you mean
impressive.
complete edition?
So
Oh.
they did a complete edition for episode for part 2 of
No.
The game?
The Last of
No.
Us. Or
Oh,
is
the
it whole thing?
remastered, the
No.
remastered version. Oh yeah, that's just the PS5 upgrade.
Mhm.
$10 if you got the
No,
PS4.
the complete edition is The Last of Us 1 and 2 re-released.
Again,
For $100, you can have both games
There you
on
go.
one
Straight.
disc.
I have the
With all-
PS4
with-
version
with-
of Last of Us, and
with
I have
all the
part 2. I'm
DLC.
good.
For the
That's
record,
wild.
and one thing we forgot to mention,
Naughty
this
Dog
game,
needs to stop fucking pushing that game out.
I like Naughty Dog.
they'll
I
keep-
do too, but we need other stuff from them, okay?
Girl, they're working on it. Calm down. They
Yeah.
need money to fund this new game that you keep bitching about them needing to put out and make.
I want to play it.
For the
I
record,
do too. I saw the trailer. They need to hurry up.
They're
for the
doing
record,
2.
the first game originally came out in June of 2013. This game is almost 20. Oh, actually, it's almost
It's 22
Yeah.
years old.
it's almost 20
No,
years
no.
old.
2003 or
2013.
13? 13.
It's
Oh,
almost
no,
15.
yeah.
It's almost-
Sorry.
It's almost 15 years old. This game is almost 15 years old, and it's been in 4 consoles and including PC. So that should show you just how great this game franchise is, which is why they keep milking it.
And why it's still relevant.
Yeah. But that's gonna do it for this episode, folks. Let us know what you thought of the show in the comments. How do you think it held up to the game? Are you a fan of what HBO is doing with this franchise? Did it inspire you to play the game? Let us know. If you want to reach us at the Media Buff Podcast, you're more than welcome to do so. I promise you we'll be nice. I'll make sure Matt is nice. As always, make sure you check
can't
out
control me.
Make sure you check out Maono for any audio equipment needs. Use use code word MediaBuff to get 10% off your
Okay.
first purchase. There is a giveaway right now on their Instagram page at Maono USA, so definitely check it out. They're giving away a microphone. We can't use our code word to get discount off of it, but hey, you might be able to win it for free. So
Does that
But
mean
you
I
can.
can't because I'm here?
you can.
But you
can.
can.
Cool.
Yeah, you can.
So, all right. With that being said, everybody said bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, everybody, and fucking be nice.
Yeah, be
That's-
excellent to each other.
That's John's line.
I'm
You owe me
stealing
35
it.
cents. I
That's-
stole that
that's
from
fine.
Bill. I stole that from Bill and Ted fair and square.
Money well spent.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks again.